Good morning, America. How are you? How are you, America? This morning, I want to address the topic of bullying. Bullying. How do you kick off a conversation about bullies? Is what I've been asking myself, and the conclusion I've come to is, well, we need to define terms. So I'll ask you, the viewer. What do you when I say bully? What comes to mind when you think of a bully? For me, when I think of a bully, I think of someone who's insecure and are not getting their needs met. That's usually the telltale symptoms of a bully. And I can speak with a little bit of authority on the subject of bullies because I myself, I'm what I would call a reformed bully myself. Actually, I'm gonna well, I'll give you an example. When I was 9 years old, my younger brother, I bullied him quite a bit. I tormented him and I teased him and I pestered him all the time. My younger brother, he was 5 years old and I was 9 years old at the time. Um, One time, I was teasing him and pestering him, and it got to he had enough. He had enough. So what was happening is, I'll set the scene for you. My family. I was 9 years old. My brother was 5, and we were in the woods. We were chopping firewood. My family and I. My mom and my dad, my brother and myself. We were cutting firewood. Cut to the chase. We're taking a lunch break. We were taking a break. My mom and my dad were out there sitting on a stump. My dad was sharpening his chainsaw with a rat tail file. And me and my brother, we were sitting in the cab of the truck eating bologna sandwiches and hard-boiled eggs. So what happened was, I was teasing my brother. I had the salt shaker, and my brother, he wanted some salt. He wanted to sprinkle some salt on his hard-boiled egg, and I wouldn't let him have the salt shaker. And he was getting angry. He was frustrated. And he was, um, like I said, and there was a history of me bullying him. And like I said, he finally had enough. So what he did is he balled up his little 5-year-old fist, and he popped me right in my nose. And sure enough, my nose started gushing. I had a nosebleed because my brother popped me in the nose. And I got out of the truck. I was crying and I was bawling. And so do I do. I ran to mommy. That's what I did. I ran to mom. I said, Mom, I'm bleeding. And I said, Zane, I'm crying. And I said, my brother. I said, Quentin, he punched me in the face. So my mom, what she did, she looked at me, and then she walks over to the side of the pickup to the passenger side, and she opens the door, and she asks Quentin. She says, "Did you punch your brother in the face?" And then she looks at me, and then she looks over at my dad. Like I said, he was out there sharpening his chainsaw. Um, so Quentin, he said, "Yeah, I punched him in the face." And then my mom, she just got down. She looked her right in the eye, and she looks at Quentin, and she says, "Good for you, good for you." And then she turned around, she walked off, and then that was it. So I learned at the tender age of 9 years old that being a bully is not too cool. More importantly, at the early age of 9 years old, I learned to respect my younger brother. I respected him because he stood up for himself. I didn't know it at the time. In retrospect, I learned to respect him. Um, so anyway, now moving forward as an adult, you can't go around punching people in the nose if they're being bullies to you. So what you have to do is you have to use your intellect and your reasoning and your so yeah, that brings up the question: how do you deal with the bully? And there's two ways you can go about it. One, you can get violent and angry and upset with the bully, and you can do like my brother did when he was 5 years old. You can punch him right in the nose, and that's, as you know, that's not an option. As adults, we can't go around punching people in the nose. That's not too cool, because that kind of makes you a bully yourself. So the question is, how do you combat a bully? And for me, what I've come to learn over the years is the thing about being a bully is, like I said earlier, a bully is insecure, and a bully is someone who's not getting their needs met. Um, what you got to do when you're dealing with the bullies, you got to kind of use psychology. You got to get inside their head, and you got to understand that what the bully wants to do is, the bully wants to get under your skin. That's their objective. When somebody's bullying you, and as I said, I alluded to, a person who is a bully is somebody that's insecure and not getting their needs met. Um, the thing about bullies is they can't stand it when they lose control of the narrative. So what does that mean when you lose control of the narrative? It means you take their power away from them. Because like I said, it's their objective to get under your skin and to elicit a response from you, a visceral reaction. So as an adult, we use our intellect, as I said, to regulate our emotions and not get angry. Instead, what we do is we have to get inside their head, and how we do that is we ask them questions. Because I alluded to, a bully is somebody that's not getting their needs met. So to diffuse the situation and to take control of the conversation, to redirect that narrative, what you need to do is you just look at a bully right in the eye and you ask them with a smile on your face, because a smile for a bully is kryptonite. Bullies hate smiles. And so anyway, you look them in the eye, and if you can, a genuine smile. It's got to be a genuine smile. A genuine smile. You look them in the eye and you ask them, "What do you need, Matt? What do you need right now? What do you need in this moment? I can tell that you're angry. What are you so angry about?" And what will happen is the bully, they'll be, like I said, they'll stop right in their tracks, and then well, mostly what they'll do is they'll up the ante, and well, more than likely they'll get angry. They'll get angry because, like I say, they're insecure and they're not getting their needs met. And if you take away if you redirect the conversation and overtake the narrative, they can't handle that. So what do? They'll probably escalate. And then they'll end up becoming agitated and hostile their own self. And then that happens, then that's when you can really smile, because that's when you'll understand that you actually did truly flip the tables on the bully. So what I'm trying to say is what we have to do is we have to use kindness. We use our weapons are our words. Words are our weapons. As adults, we use weapons. We use words. We articulate, and like I said, we get into their head. And how we do that is we ask them questions. And when we ask them questions, like I said, that redirects the conversation, and that knocks them off balance. It takes them by surprise, because they're not. Like I said, their objective is to make you angry. But if you flip the conversation by smiling and asking them why they're so angry, like I said, you take control of the situation then. And that is what like I said, that's using your words as your weapons. And like I said, the smile is like kryptonite to a bully. But so smiles are contagious, and so yeah, as adults, as aspiring adults, as mature, rational adults, what we have to do is we have to take control of the situation. We have to redirect the conversation, and like I said, we smile. And if that escalates the situation further, and the bully actually does get hostile and irate and really angry, which will oftentimes be the case, the best thing to do at that point is to de-escalate, and like I say, you'll notice that they're getting hostile and agitated, and what you'll do is you look them right in the eye and you say, "Well, look, you're making my argument for me. You're acting childish right here now, and I've got other things I got to do right now. I got things I need to do." And then you turn your back and you just calmly walk away. And they hate that. A bully just hates that, because what are you doing when you turn your back and walk away with a smile on your face? You're leveraging the age-old fear of rejection against them. And what does that mean? Well, it makes them feel like they'll have an epiphany. Like myself, when I was 9 years old, they'll come to respect you. They might not know it at the time, but they'll be kind of befuddled and dumbstruck a little bit. But if you take control of that conversation, and like I say, smile, ask them questions, redirect the conversation, take control of the narrative, you'll gain confidence. Yeah. And confidence, that's another thing. A bully, like I said, they're insecure and they're not getting their needs met. So they definitely lack confidence. But as an aspiring mature adult, using words as our weapons, and by adhering to the motto that above all else be kind, well, that's what gives you the authority over their childish antics. I'm going to cut this video short right now, and I'm going to continue on this. I'm going to maybe So above all else, be kind. Above all else, be kind. And like I said, sometimes the kindest thing to do is just to smile politely and say, okay, yeah, I've got other things I need to be doing. I'll talk to you later. Maybe we can pick up this conversation when you're feeling a little bit more calm. You tell that to the bully or the agitated person that you're having a conversation with. And I'm going to end this video now. And in the next video, we're going to kind of touch on other key elements of maturity, and respect and hope. Like I said, smiles are contagious. Hope is also contagious, and respect is something that kind of becomes apparent, becomes readily. The first time you actually successfully confront the bully with kindness and defuse the situation, and the first time you feel the sensation of redirecting the conversation and taking control of the narrative, it'll make you happy. It'll make you smile in the moment, and the more you smile, the worse the bully's going to get angry. And like I said, the more angry the bully gets, the more you can smile knowing that you've taken the high ground. And you're taking the high ground by simply just being kind to them. And like I said, ask them questions, ask them what their needs are, and just take their anger that they're trying to project onto you, reflect it right back to them. Yeah. So that's it for this video. Adults of America Coalition. Thank you, America. Above all else, be kind. We'll talk next time.